Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Triangle Offense. I'm Munish. As always, I'm joined by Nishant. Great day in the NBA today. The Lakers huffing and puffing to another victory. You can see that tiredness on Nishant's face after LeBron James is playing all by himself,
It's like
inspiring
I
the
played in the
Lakers.
fourth quarter almost.
Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks have gone four games without a win. Surprising.
Ouch.
Uh,
Yes.
Panic mode kind of there. Drew Holiday has missed all those four games. He's out with COVID, so kind of shows in there why they're lacking there. Uh, Raptors really climbing up the table fast, so that's an interesting team to watch out for. And the Brooklyn Nets, inspired by James Harden pulling out a great win at the end, come from behind victory against the Phoenix Suns. So they're trending upward as well. But today I want to focus on the Warriors, as we do once every week at least with the Warriors, and Draymond Green in particular, because I've been watching a lot of the Warriors games, obviously because I live in the Bay Area now, but. Draymond Green, now this guy was an elite defender. He still is an elite defender, but he also used to give 20 points a game.
Yeah.
In that amazing Warriors lineup a couple of years back, he was a power forward who used to give 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, and maybe 6, 7, 8 assists.
Yeah.
He has transformed his game entirely this season. He has been giving 10 plus assists. 5 of the last 6 games, he's got 10 plus assists. But his points ratio has gone down considerably. He's scoring 5, 6, 7, 8, like single digit points all the time. So my question for you is, has he actually progressed as a player? Has he regressed as a player? Because what he gets to the Warriors lineup is a lot of intangibility and a lot of assists, a lot of moving the thing, a lot of the captain's role, if you can call it that. So what do you think? Is he really good enough to be in a championship lineup?
For sure. I think this is one of the most key pieces you'll have in a championship lineup. You know how in masonry, when you build a domed roof, the whole weight of the dome, 99 point blah, 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 blah percentage is all of the stones which just about any bumbling fool can assemble. And then there's the keystone that holds the entire damn dome up. He's that kind of guy, right? So he's the hardest piece to find in a championship um, puzzle. He's um, he's if Caruso was 5x more effective, something like that, right? Has he regressed as a player? No, it depends on what metric you're looking at in output. But if you're looking at metrics, you've already lost the plot with Draymond because you can't capture. He's one of those players that you can't capture in metrics. He's one of those players that analytics guys should hate. I don't know if they do hate or if they figured out some new metric to define his greatness, but they should hate him because he actually is one of those few players where which justifies the archaic scouting system and leaving it to a coach's best judgments and not to a stat sheet. I don't think he's regressed at all. I think he's always been the guy that does whatever it takes for the team. He's always been that no ego, devoted to the team kind of guy. And sometimes the emotions get better of him because he's that devoted to the team. It's what led him to flip out at Kevin Durant because there was perceived disloyalty or potential disloyalty down the line. So that being said, now he's suddenly dishing out, and I must say I am shocked by the assist count. If you look at just Feb alone, he's 10 assists more than anyone else in the league, and that's James Harden, who's second.
Yeah.
He's ahead of Luka, Trae Young, you name it, right? Which is astonishing. Like, we knew he could pass. He was the power forward / point forward that could make nifty passes every match, every now and then. To now he's like Jason Kidd almost, like Jason Kidd's John Stockton back on the court again, the way he's dishing out assists. Here's where his value starts reflecting though. With Steph Curry off the court, put any other combination of players on the court, take Steph Curry off, they score about 17 points less per 100. 17. That's the most impact any player has on any team in the league right now. No team is more dependent on one player than the Warriors are dependent on Steph Curry. That's obvious. That's painfully obvious. But second on that list is Draymond. Take him off, and it's 11-point drop.
Okay.
It's 11 points per 100 less for the Warriors. That's offensive impact. Can't make that up. You can say there's some out of that is noise, but it's double digits. Not all of it is. And then when you add Steph Curry back, of course they go up on scoring efficiency, right? Steph by himself is that damn good. But when you add Draymond to any lineup with Steph, it goes up another 6 points. They're scoring per 100. right?
Right.
So here's a guy that's impacting them both ends of the floor, because this is net scoring impact. It's not gross scoring impact. So it's net of
Right.
what you concede, which is a testament to his defensive prowess. Draymond has become the pivot. He was really, even before KD's arrival, he was that pivot around which Clay and Steph operated, around which Livingston and all the other shooters that they had operated. While David West or whoever was the big they had, McGee later on, would man the paint on offense. And then he's an elite defender that can defend 1 through 5, one of the few defenders that can. And so he made an impact on both ends of the floor. I think his defense has diminished a bit, but I think some of that diminishing defense can be explained by the fact that he doesn't really have a great defensive team around him. How much can you do by yourself? There's a reason why offense is more valuable than defense, because by yourself, there's a whole lot more you can do as a skilled offensive player than you can as a skilled defender. You could be the best defender in the game. If you're doing it alone, it's not going to work. You can't
Right.
just, like, the ball travels faster than you, right? That's the most fundamental rule of team ball sports. The ball travels faster than any human can. So if the team's useless, you could be the best defender in the world, doesn't matter. I think some of that is attributable to Draymond's drop in defensive game. But he, on offense, if you watch the team, he's as pivotal as they come. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something.
True. So while I agree that he's been pivotal to the team, and you can see that in the results, he missed the first 4 or 5 games, and Warriors were horrible. But once he came in, the team totally transformed into a top 8 team or top 6 team even in the West. And so his contribution there is definitely noticed, you could say. But my question is, he gets a lot of open shots and he doesn't take them. And when he takes, he misses. So I was looking at the last 6 games. Okay, he's taken 6 shots, 5 shots, 7 shots, 4, 11, and 2. That's really low, I feel, and he's not even converting half of them. So, and he's below 20% from 3 as well. So he was never a great 3-point shooter, but 20% is horrible. So do you think, despite all that he brings to the team, he should be taking more shots and scoring more points, or it's not even required with Steph in the team? He does all of that.
Yeah. I think I would bet on Wiggins being a better scorer than Draymond. And the question really is, if he starts taking shots, who's dishing the ball around? Because the way they're presently constructed on offense, every play is ideally, can we get the ball to Steph? If not, what's the next best option available to us right now? That's pretty much their one-liner on offense.
Right.
And usually, if the ball's not in Draymond's hands, it's up to somebody else to find the best player on court or find the best shot on the court. Not enough players have that ability on their team. And when the ball's in Draymond's hands, I think what the Warriors are going for is what we saw a bit of from the Miami Heat last year. And this strategy tends to usually make a team greater than the sum of its parts, which is fluid off the ball movement and that extra pass. There's always that extra pass to get the ball to the best possible, most open shot taker available on the court. And that really, only Draymond can do that outside of Steph. And if Steph has the ball, why do you want him to pass? You want him to shoot. Whoever he passes to, there's a better chance he'll score than the other guy. Especially with the
no
bumps
matter
he has
what
around.
position or where he's on the court.
Yeah, exactly. So when Draymond's got, it could be that there is some bias induced by this system. That is, he's by design looking for the pass before he's looking for a shot, and then given his IQ and his ability to make reads, he's finding a pass to make, and so he's making it. The assists get registered. What about all those that don't turn into assists?
Right.
We should really look at the passes he's spraying around. So I think he's predisposed to be a pass first guy right now than a shot first guy. And sometimes it really takes a coach's intervention to refocus Draymond sometimes, because he really is like a bull. You point and he charges, and sometimes it takes a coach's intervention to refocus. I think the team's perfectly fine where they are right now, with him not taking those shots, looking around for the right pass, because we remember the shots he's not taking, but what we're also seeing is it's resulting in more assists than anyone else in the league. And sometimes that comes at a cost. Like Rondo at his prime used to routinely miss taking open shots because he was always looking for whom to dish it out to.
Right.
This is true of a lot of point guards over the course of history. So this isn't a first. It's surprising to see somebody like Draymond, who we are used to seeing in the high 10s or early 20s in scoring. It's used to see him kind of back off from that shot. But I think we've got to look at it from the lens that he really is like a 90s pass first point guard right now, who can also play the big game every once in a while, stretch the floor and run the pick and roll. So I think that's what it is. And honestly, I don't think it's something that Coach Kerr is going to change in a hurry this season.
Now it's 6 or 7 games that he's got these double-digit assists, right? But isn't with Steph the sole focal point in that team? Like, you always want to pass the ball to Steph. Don't you think it'll get predictable when you play more and more games that you know that when Draymond has the ball, you let him shoot because he's not going to hit the three. He's not going to even attempt sometimes. And it kind of becomes predictable that everyone covers Steph and Steph is the lone man. Too much to do. It kind of gets predictable, don't you think? It's a tricky game there that you need that second person.
No, I do. And you're right. You're very right. I think it will get predictable. But have you watched Steph off the ball? It's not exactly easy to keep up. And also, when Draymond gets the ball, I don't think Steph is really the problem that Coach Kerr would be worried about, because you get the ball to Steph Curry. Usually his off the ball movement is elite. So he's getting into a good position to take a shot. And even if not, he can still, from there on, create a shot for himself or shoot off the dribble, call for another pick and roll. Like, the play doesn't die with Steph being guarded well.
True.
That doesn't happen. Vice versa. Even when it comes back to Draymond, I think he's capable of finding a way out. I think the bigger problem for them to solve is how do they master the rotation such that Kelly Oubre and Wiggins always get the shots that they can make. There's no point lamenting the shots that they can't. How do they work that into the rotations? How do they work? How do these two guys master their off the ball movements? Because they know the ball is coming to a level where they're always getting to positions and spots and zones that they can convert from. Now, if a team is elite enough on defense to know these zones and mark those zones well, then they've got a problem. But then a team that well prepared to beat the Warriors is a team well prepared to beat pretty much anyone.
Right. And one last thing before we close the episode out for today. Now, Steph is putting out numbers that are almost as equal to his unanimous MVP season. Now, with Steph in that kind of form, Draymond dishing out assists, do you think these two can actually become a formidable force and kind of upset the stronger teams like, say, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, the usual favorites in the West? Do you think they're capable of pulling out an upset there?
No.
Short answer.
No, because what have we seen in the playoffs, right? It gets so tight defensively and shots are missed routinely. It can't be two guys, right? It's not even two guys right now. It's Draymond making the assists and Steph shooting. It's such a weird combination of a playmaker from a bygone era that has been phased out and a shot maker from the current era, which is revolutionary.
Yeah.
It's a unique combo. It's not one that one of them most teams and coaches know how to defend.
Right.
The Draymond version of a playmaker. What they don't know how to defend yet is a Steph version of a shot maker. But it's one guy.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, he's getting double teamed, he's getting triple teamed. Now, earlier, he had the luxury of passing to a Draymond who could still shoot, a Iguodala who could shoot, a Livingston who could shoot, a KD and a Klay Thompson that can shoot. He doesn't have any of those right now. So it's a tough ask for them to win a 7-game series against anyone that makes it to the playoffs. I don't think they're good for even a single series win. It'll be an upset even if they sneak past one team in the playoffs, if they get to it in the first place. I don't think this is that year.
All right. So that was the Warriors for today. I think they have an interesting game coming up against Miami Heat. I think Miami Heat have been uptrending as well. But we'll see how that goes and if Draymond can keep up his hot streak of dishing out double-digit assists.
Yeah, it'll be Draymond versus Butler. That's something to look forward
to. Two aggressive fighting for the team character. That'll be a nice battle. Looking forward to that one. But that's all for today, and I'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, man. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.